Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Q&A session on the Master of Science in Disability Services in Higher Education at the CUNY School of Professional Studies. This is an information session that will cover basic information about the Master of Science program and how it works, and just to kind of introduce you to the program and offer you an opportunity to ask questions. This, as I mentioned, is the Master of Science degree in Disability Services and Higher Education information session. My name is Andrew Markham. I am the academic director for disability studies. I recently became the academic director. Before that, I was teaching in disability studies at SPS since 2016. I worked for a nonprofit in Buffalo, New York called the Center for Self-Advocacy in Buffalo for 6 years between 2016 and 2022. I was also a postdoctoral research fellow at the Center for Inclusive Design and Environmental Access and the Museum of Disability History. And before that, I was a research fellow in the history of disability at the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History. A little bit about our school. The CUNY School of Professional Studies is one of 25 CUNY campuses, and we're home to CUNY's online programs. CUNY is expanding its online options, but we have really been, as a school, a pioneer in this area of online learning for about 15 years now. And the school houses 13 master's degrees, 11 bachelor's degrees, 4 dual degrees, 13 certificate and advanced certificate programs. We have over 4,000 students enrolled, and we are fully accredited by the Middle States Association of Colleges and Schools. A little bit more about the Masters of Science in Disability Services in Higher Education. This is the first of its kind program in the country. And our ambition is to educate professionals and students and advocates and anyone who is interested in how to best serve people with disabilities in a variety of areas, but also to have the knowledge and expertise to make sure that we live in a more accessible and inclusive world, and that includes in higher education, but it also means a variety of other things, as you'll see. It's not just officials in higher education that benefit from this particular degree program. It is fully online, and it is taught by expert practitioners with teaching experience, including people with who are disability lawyers and people who have run disability services offices for many years, and people who are truly experts in their field. Because we're online, we're able to draw upon experts from across the country, which is really a benefit to us and our students. Who should apply? Well, I mentioned educational officials and higher ed officials, but K through 12 people as well. If you're working to prepare for a career in disability services of any type, really, this program will benefit you. Those in human resources, urban planning, community planning and design, people responsible for accommodations in public venues like parks, concerts, sports arenas, public libraries, museums, people who need to acquire specific advanced knowledge and wish to obtain an educational credential. A little bit about the curriculum itself. There are 6 required courses, and there are also, I believe, 4 electives, which we'll turn to shortly. But this is a list of the required courses. You can see assistive technology, legal aspects, higher ed administration, neurodiversity among college students are all core aspects, but there are many other options as well. Our entire catalog is available at the SPS website, sps.catalog.cuny.edu, and then you'll look for programs DSHE-MS. Once you've completed all of your electives as well as all of your required courses, you've reached the end of your degree program. You have to complete what is called a capstone. The capstone is a course that integrates what students have learned throughout their time in the program, and you do have options when it comes to what kind of capstone you can do. You can do a traditional research paper. You can develop what's called an e-portfolio, which is really kind of an online dossier or online resume that documents your time in the program, your areas of expertise that you've gained, what your career ambitions are, what courses you completed, what projects you completed. And the final option is an internship in a professional setting where you are interested in gaining hands-on experience in a specific workplace. So you can find requirements and course descriptions here at the website listed, sps.catalog.cuny.edu, and then just search disability studies or disability studies in higher ed. You can see samples of the e-portfolios as well if you go to cunyonline.digication.com, and you should be able to find those. We can get you this information too. If you don't need to worry about remembering everything that I'm telling you, because we're always going to be available to follow up and answer your questions afterward, and you're always welcome to stay in touch with us.
I've also copied the links in the
chat. And Darian is so very helpful because he also copied the links and put them in the chat. So thank you, Darian. That was awesome. As I mentioned, there are electives as well. And among the 4 electives that you want to choose or that you have an option to choose include topics like universal design in higher ed, emerging populations. That's, specific, zeroing in a specific population, including that could be, an aging population, or it could be around the mental health sector or dual diagnosis, accommodations outside the classroom, supporting students with psychiatric disabilities, disability and diversity. So all of those things are covered in the range of electives that you can choose. And if you go to the catalog that I just showed you, and we can go back. If you go back to the catalog, you can find the elective options there as well. Additional electives and opportunities include grant writing for disability services. That happens to be an area of specialty or interest to you. Transitioning students from college to work. Dealing specifically with students with intellectual disabilities on college campuses. Various selected topics in disability studies and independent study in disability services, which could engage a wide variety of topics depending on which area of focus you're most interested in studying. Advanced Certificate in Disability Studies is a professional credential that is linked to our MS program, but it is a 4-course requirement for the certificate. And so it's not a full master's degree, but it is nonetheless a beneficial credential. And many people find that when they take the certificate program, they thrive in it, they like it, and they choose to go on to finish the remainder of the courses in order to get the Master's of Science degree. The only thing that needs to happen for you to do that, assuming you pass the courses successfully, is that you enroll into the Masters of Science program when you get ready to, and then you'll be enrolled in there. You'll have completed 4 courses, and you'll be able to move forward if you so desire. So you can view here the main core courses 601, social, cultural, and political aspects of disability. Then you have a choice of 3 electives, and there's an opportunity for a practicum, or more accurately, an internship, but that have to be worked out. There's some things that have to be done to make that happen, but it's not out of the question if you ask us about it. We can maybe work with our intern department and see if we can work something. Great, thank you, Darian. And I know this is a link that people are going to be interested in, which is tuition, financial aid, and scholarships. All of the courses that you take in any of the programs are 3 credit courses. So when you look at tuition cost, you have to look at it in terms of per credit. So if you're a New York resident, it's $400, $470 per credit. That's going to be 470 times 3, or 565 times 3 for non-residents. You can see how that adds up in the non-degree program as well. And there's more specific information at the link right here. So you can qualify for financial aid except in the non-degree programs, and there are scholarships available. So visiting the financial aid office online, as well as the scholarship and office, and I'll provide phone numbers for those offices as well shortly, is a good idea if you're thinking about getting into the program. Admissions, which is where you're going to submit your application, the scholarships, financial aid office, which I just mentioned. These are the phone numbers and email addresses for each of those departments. It's useful information, which you can find on the SPS website, but it's nice to have on hand if you're thinking about applying, because if you have a question about your application, you can always reach out to admissions. If you're wondering about financial aid options, you can reach out to financial aid. The bursar office distributes financial aid, and they also collect tuition. So when it comes to making sure that you're set up with a payment plan and paying your tuition as well as receiving support for your tuition, you will be in touch with the bursar's office on those things. Some frequently asked questions. Can I actually earn a full master's degree online? Yes, you can. We have the capability to do that, and we've been refining that capability for many years, and the courses are online, they are asynchronous. There are, of course, expectations that every student has to meet. These are fully accredited competitive graduate programs, and the courses are rigorous. But that being said, we also pride ourselves on having flexibility and opportunity. Because of our structure as an online program, we can offer working students and people flexibility to do their coursework at different hours in different places throughout the country. We can work with them to meet different kinds of learning needs and learning styles. How long does it take? It depends on how many courses you take each semester. And most students take 1 or 2 courses. We don't really recommend that you take more than 2 courses, just because, as I said, these courses can be rigorous and challenging. They're intended to be, and we don't want to see students bite off more than they can chew, or have difficulty and struggle that they could avoid by taking a lighter course load. But we can't stop you from taking 3 courses if you want to. It's a decision you have to make. Can we apply courses from the MA program to the MS? No, only the courses in the MS curriculum will be applied to the MS program. So these are 2 different programs. So that's the reason why you can't move credits from one program to another. Yes, you will have an advisor that will help you through your program. At the graduate level, Tamara does a lot of the heavy lifting on advisory advice for our graduate students. I know that she spends a great deal of time doing that and is dedicated to it, but you also have access to other advisory tools and guidance to help you matriculate through the program. Do you accept courses from other master's programs? Rarely, but we do look at courses for transfer on a case-by-case basis. We need to see the syllabus and some other information just to make sure that the course is aligned with us. And I know the university is also working on different ways to streamline our transfer credit system and make it easier for students to know what's transferable and what's not. That's a work in progress. But for now, what I can tell you is we'll take it under consideration if you ask us to. You can send the information to Tamara at her email there. Do you provide accommodations to students with disabilities? Yes, we do have a disability services office. And they are very knowledgeable. They're graduates of our program, so we're kind of proud of that. And they're there to assist students with any accommodations, academic accommodations that you might need while you're in the program. The student life offices that have to do with student organizations and access to other resources. There's a whole lot of resources that we link our students to, whether it be emergency funding when it's needed, making sure that you have access to campus resources, the libraries, career services. If you're a military veteran, you may have access to particular opportunities or scholarships or just specific kinds of support for you that can be made available to you. You can also just always contact our program directly. And we want to hear from you. If you have questions, we will do our best to answer the questions or direct you to somebody who can. So my email address is just my name, first name, last name, andrew.markham@cuny.edu. It's the same for Tamara Colon, our assistant director. First name, last name @cuny.edu. Tamara.colon@cuny.edu. And don't forget that you can always reach out to us if you have a question that comes up while you're working on your application or while you're looking at our website, or maybe something that you just forgot to ask while we were online together. You can email us anytime. We'll get back in touch with you when we're able to.